In this video, we're gonna compare Medellin versus Cartagena. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam. In this video, as I said in the intro, we're gonna compare Medellin versus Cartagena. And in this comparison, we don't go through many figures. It's more about my personal experience being in the two cities. We're gonna compare many specific cases. And at the end of the video, we're gonna talk with a person that is from or was born in Cartagena, but now lives in Medellin. So that's you have another point of view of the two cities. So we start with a little overview. Medellin is located in the Andes, so in the mountains of Colombia, and it's a more or less big city with around 4 million people in the valley where Medellin lies. Medellin is surely famous for being one of the top expat destinations in the last couple of years. Then Cartagena is located on the coast of Colombia, on the Caribbean or Atlantic coast, however you want to put it, and has around 1 million people living there, and is surely famous for the special historic center and for being one of the top tourist destinations in Latin America. So we start off with cost of living. So cost of living is very easy. Medellin beats here Cartagena, and for example in Cartagena to get a furnished apartment in a nice area could be from $1,300 to $1,600 US, and in Medellin it's around $1,000 to $1,200 a month. And yeah, the same goes with almost everything, so food and almost everything. Cartagena is around 30% more expensive than Medellin. Then the climate. Of course, this is very individual and is more or less a breaking point for either of the cities. So if you like hot weather, then Cartagena is better, and if you like the springtime or summertime weather you have in the Andes of Colombia, of course Medellin is better. We give the point to Medellin here because, as I always say, Medellin has probably one of the best climates in the world for more or less a human being to live in. So this is why the climate of Medellin wins this point, because in Medellin it's around 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 25 to 30 degrees Celsius all year round, and in Cartagena it's just very hot, from 85 to around 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 28 to 35 degrees Celsius. Yeah, hot, humid. This is Cartagena. Nice spring, summertime weather all year round. This is Medellin. Then the traffic, this point goes to Cartagena because Medellin has really a traffic issue, especially during rush hour. It's just a hassle to get through the city, so that even many expats, they try to plan their days that they don't have to travel through during the rush hour. And in Cartagena there's also traffic, but it's just not as ridiculously chaotic as it is here in Medellin. Medellin just has the issue of not being able to expand the road network due to its lie in the valley, and yeah, Cartagena does not really have that issue. Then safety, this is pretty much a tie. Of course, if you would probably look at crime statistics, Medellin would win in comparison to Cartagena. But as I said in the beginning, we are not really big fans of figures and statistics. That's why I'm gonna compare my boots on the ground experience, and this is really comes down to, in Cartagena you probably will mingle around as an expat in the historic center or in Boca Grande, which are very safe areas. And in Medellin it's the same. You probably will be around the neighborhoods of El Poblado, Laureles, Envigado, Sabaneta, and these are also very safe areas. So in my comparison, being in the two cities, in those places that expats will stay, it's more or less the same. That's why it's a tie here. Of course, Cartagena has a more, I would say, poor, has a bigger poor community, which the security or crime is an issue. but as I said, most expats will not wander in those areas. Then health. So health really comes down to healthcare, because health insurance is the same because it's one country. So this point clearly goes to Medellin. Medellin has just so much more, let's say, upscale hospitals, one of the best in Latin America, where Cartagena has around maybe 5 to 10 really, I would say, expat-friendly hospitals, and in Medellin there you can find around 20 to 30 real good hospitals here. And some of the best hospitals in all of Latin America are located in Medellin. Then things to do. This is really a hard one, because in Cartagena you have so much to do. You can go to the historic center, you can explore islands of the Caribbean, you can go to the beach, which is really missing in Medellin. And on the other hand, in Medellin you have the mountains, so you can go up and go hiking, you can drive a bike here. There are a lot of more like malls around where you can spend time if you like that. And so it's so hard to say I have to give it a tie, because yeah, it really comes down to personal preference. Do you prefer the beach, or do you prefer a more sophisticated being around malls, doing a walk around here and there and going to the mountains? So yeah, it comes down to personal preference. In this comparison, it's a tie. Then food, this is just another tie. Of course, like the average quality of food in Medellin is certainly better than in Cartagena, because just the infrastructure and the laws and regulations are a little bit more here in Medellin than in Cartagena. But where most expats will be in the historic center and in Boca Grande, the food is very, very good. It's safe to eat if you don't go out on a food stand or something like that. So especially the historic center of Cartagena has a lot of great restaurants, and you can find a variety of food there, especially fish and stuff like that. And in Medellin, the quality of food here, as I said, is an average, is very, very good, even compared to a lot of other Latin American cities. And you have more like food chains, you have more like a barbecue stuff of food here, which is can be very, very high quality, very good. And yeah, that's why it's just another tie. In Cartagena you have more the fish, more the coastal food, and in Medellin you have more the classic traditional Andes food of Colombia, which is sausages and barbecue. So then investing, another really hard one to compare, because in Cartagena you have already a lot of foreigners, foreign investors in there because of the flock of tourists, and in Medellin it's an up-and-coming city, but there are already also a lot of foreign investors here. I would say really the difference is that Cartagena has just a lot of tourists coming in, and so you can set the prices higher, and Medellin is just a little bit more up-and-coming than Cartagena. So it really comes down to your risk management. How much risk are you willing to take? If you take a little bit more risk, then you go to Medellin, which is more up and coming, as I said. And if you just want to have the constant stream of tourists more or less guaranteed as your source of income from your investment, then surely Cartagena is your choice. But yeah, it's really almost the same thing in case of the opportunity you have to invest in both cities. So that's why it's another tie. So as you can see, Medellin beats out Cartagena with 7-5. Of course, it really comes down to your personal preference, and that's why we try to get another point of view, and we go to Marta, which is our friend, which is born in Cartagena but now lives since a couple of years in Medellin, and we asked her what she thinks about the two cities.
So my name is Marta. I moved to Medellin around 3 years ago. I'm originally from Cartagena. And the main difference that I found when I just arrived, being a costeña, is the cultural offer. Like Medellin has a lot of restaurants, bars to offer. They also have a lot of music events, concerts, theater, parades, which are free or really affordable. And in Cartagena, you might have some of these events, but they're maybe targeted to people who are willing to pay more for these kind of things. Here, it's something I really love from this city because you can get involved more into the cultural vibe without having to spend much money. And something else I really like, and it's an example for the rest of the country, I think, as well, is the organization. Like the Paisa culture is really organized, and you can see that in the infrastructure in general. The roads are always clean, they have really huge infrastructure, buildings. Everything is like really well built, and they're always improving the cities compared to some other regions in the country where you don't see the investment from the government actually being concreted or feasible in different works for infrastructure. And another one of the big differences coming from the coast was the change between the beach and the mountains. It's something that you cannot replace. Paisas are really proud of the mountains. They really love this landscape. And for us, the beach is, it's something irreplaceable. Like there's nothing like going to the beach just to sit for a while, or go for a beer with your friends on a Sunday afternoon, or just go when you're tired from work and just hang around for a while, walk around the beach. So that's something that for me, I think it will never be replaceable. So I'm really glad to go back and visit my family once in a while.
So in my opinion, it really comes down to your personal preference. Do you prefer the beach and hot climate, or do you prefer just a good city with infrastructure where you have a lot of things to do when the city which is up and coming? For me personally, of course, I've chosen Medellin, so Medellin wins in my book as well. It's just a nice area with a great infrastructure and a place where you don't have to sweat your ass off every day. Of course, what really here is missing is a nice beach and a little bit more more chilled vibe that you would have on the coast, of course. So yeah, it really comes down to your personal preference. If you want to know which area or which place in Latin America could be best for you, we offer a free country test. It's very fun. We ask some questions and we will then send you a personal result. The link is in the description below. And yeah, for this video, this is pretty much it. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. See you next time.